Funds. How many of us have them? Funds. The ones you can depend on. Get those funds. Welcome to the Balance Your Books podcast. I'm Kimberly.
I'm Keena.
And I'm April.
And we're your balance partners.
Today we are talking about cash.
Cash flow and why it's important to small businesses. So Keena, tell us, why is cash important for small businesses?
Well, Kimberly, it starts with cream. Cash rules everything around me. Cream,
too.
get the money. Dollar
bill,
y'all. So, shout out to the Woo. By the way, I think they're going on tour.
They are.
Yes.
Anyway, we may have to get a ticket.
Okay.
Really, cash is the life, the bloodline of your organization. So
Cash
you
is
really,
king.
cash is king. You cannot do anything if your cash flow ain't flowing. And so one of the things that we definitely want to talk about today is how do you make sure, ladies, that your small business is able to maintain cash?
And can I just say that this is not just for small businesses. A lot of these principles apply to your personal life.
Absolutely.
So take note.
True.
Carry on.
True. Yes. Kimberly has done a lot of budget coaching for people
I
over
forgot
the
to.
years.
Yes,
you
I
gotta
do.
tell-
I do
Yeah.
that. I
So
do budget
she
coaching.
does personal budget coaching
Yes.
as well.
And my
I
own.
got my first budget spreadsheet from Kimberly.
Like for your personal?
And I'm not sure. Yes,
Oh.
absolutely. And I have my own stories as it comes to budgeting. Because I got the spreadsheet when we were, I don't know if you remember, sitting at Ray's in the City, I believe it
Okay.
was. And I had all this debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand where it came from. So you gave me the spreadsheet so I could,
Track.
track my bills, even the interest rate, down to the interest rate.
So that's a key principle because you can't manage your cash flow if you don't know what cash you have and where it's going and where it came from.
Absolutely.
Accounting for it all the way down to the penny.
To the penny. You gotta know. You have to know how much cash you really have.
And not to set us off target, but I equate it to, I don't know, some of you women may relate to this, but in cash, managing your cash is kind of like when you want to have a fitness plan. Because a lot of people say, I don't want to step on the scale.
No.
But if you don't know where you're starting, you won't know how to get to where you want to be.
So you're saying I'm not 135 pounds.
I'm not saying that because I haven't looked at your scale. But what I'm saying is when dealing with your cash flow.
If you want the truth, you might want to get on that scale.
The same is true for cash flow. When dealing with your cash flow, you need to know where all your money is.
Yes.
So in terms of business, April, tell us a little bit about keeping between personal, because we're talking about your personal budget, and your business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one thing I thought about is I know so many people love Shark Tank, right?
Yes.
Have you ever watched Shark Tank and the business owner is standing up there and they're giving their pitch and they always say they don't pay themselves? Really? You're not paying yourself? That
Yeah, they
always
do,
strikes
yeah.
me as odd. And the reason why I say that is because with my years in this business, I have run into multiple business owners that don't pay themselves, but when I look at their books, I see nothing but personal bills.
So they're paying themselves.
Right?
Yes.
And so, it just adds a level of complication to your books that aren't necessary. It puts you at risk, in terms of when you're filing your taxes, doing something that's not appropriate. We want to stay below the radar. We want to make sure everything is above board.
Yes.
All the time. And so it's just important. You've already had your personal account, right? Everybody,
You already have
pretty
your
much,
personal bank
unless
account.
you're 12 years old, and some 12-year-olds have their bank accounts too. You have an account, so keep things separate. Keep your personal with your personal accounts. Keep your business with your business accounts. A lot of entrepreneurs, you guys probably have seen this, they'll come into a lot of money once their business gets flowing. And all of a sudden, they want that car, or they
Yep.
want that house, or they want that purse, or they want those shoes.
Or those
Right.
trips to Miami.
Or those trips to Miami.
Yes, that aren't business. So, you just have to be cognizant of that. Make sure you're making the right moves. And so, Keena, tell us a little bit more about the right moves you can make.
One of the things that I have noticed is that people, how do I say it in a nice?
Just say it. Be your authentic
I'm
self.
gonna be my
Keena.
authentic self. You be honest, because you have to decide if you are going to be an ethical capitalist. Okay? And are you going to run your business? Everything that you're going to learn on our podcast is about being an ethical capitalist. And what I mean by that is doing things by the rules.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of times you're thinking, I can get away with this, I can slide through this. Everything always catches up with you. And we have seen that over the years, the biggest fall. I mean, when we started out, there was a firm called Arthur Anderson. You youngins probably have never heard of it.
Yes.
You know why? And they were the #1 accounting firm in the world. And they are no longer here.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Exactly. So
And
it's
what's
like
done in the dark will come to the light.
always.
Yes.
Always.
Preach.
And so, this is about when you manage your cash, do it ethically. Know that, don't try to convince me that you went to Neiman Marcus and you bought uniforms at Neiman Marcus. I'm sure there's some great white tees
Wait a minute.
at Neiman Marcus.
There might be something at Neiman Marcus that we can consider a uniform.
Oh, okay.
If you are a fashion model,
Right. If you're a fashion model.
Yes.
Right. If you're a fashion model and you have to go to a certain shoot, if you're an influencer,
yes,
and part of it is the branding and the
the
clothes
look,
and the
yes.
things, then that's a business expense. If you own a truck company and you're saying that your uniforms are from Neiman Marcus, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? So you're mixing personal and business transactions. Have your business card, have a business credit card, business bank account, have your personal credit card, personal bank account. Because all you're doing when you have an ethical accounting firm that works for you, like YBP, your balanced partners, we're going to, that if it's a personal transaction on a business account, we are going to account for it as owner's distribution, which means it was like you got paid.
you're paying
Yeah.
You
yourself.
paid
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
Right? Because that is the appropriate way to account for it. So, Kimberly, I mean, knowing that, how much money, should people make sure they have? Or should they be realistic about it?
So the thing is, again, you have to know how much you have, and you can't develop a cash flow plan on dreams.
Yes.
You must know what's coming in and you must know what's going out. And you have to have a process for tracking that. Because if you don't know, then you're just making up. I was about to cuss. Shh, you making up. We're not supposed to have the tea. But you're making it up. And then when you're making it up, you're setting yourself up for failure. So you have to know. Again, you got to step on that financial scale and know what you have, figure out what you have coming in, know what you have going out. That is a business expense. And that's how you develop how much cash you need. But if you don't have this background information, then there's no way you can set yourself up for success.
And I think a lot of times small business owners think that for some reason, if they don't pay themselves, it's almost like a combination of things. One, that they are truly invested in their business, because they're letting the money sit there and reinvesting. If they don't pay themselves, somehow they're lowering their tax burden almost. Because, there's no transaction from the business to them personally. And that ends up causing them to then commingle funds.
Right.
And really get themselves into a bind in terms, mentally, probably more than anything, with doing the separation between the two. And so I just wanted to say that again because it's so important.
It's one of the main things that we see as a problem.
It's very important. And if you're using, again, an ethical accounting firm,
yes, they will call you out on it.
And that money will go to owner's distribution. So you think you're not paying yourself, but you are paying yourself.
You're paying yourself.
Yeah.
And it will be on your tax return.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
So it's important that, why play with the IRS?
Ooh.
Right.
Why?
Don't.
And then, you know what they also do?
What do they do, April?
Once they get into that mode of commingling and not managing their cash properly, what happens is once they start playing with the IRS, then they start trying to figure out how to keep playing with the IRS, or they get themselves into a bind and don't know how to get out of playing with the IRS.
Yes.
And so...
And then they call us.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is one of the things when you're doing a tax return, for instance, and, part of every tax return has a comparative section to it where you compare the prior year to the current year.
Yes.
And so if those numbers are out of whack,
It's flag.
Red
red
flag.
flag,
Red
red
flag.
flag, red flag, red flag,
We
red
need
flag.
It's like red alert.
Audit.
Exactly.
And we don't want that.
And you don't.
Exactly. And so it's like, okay, well, where can I move this? Well, where can I do that? No. How about
Now
you
you're in
just
it.
do it right? How about you stop doing your personal stuff with your business? How about you keep those separate? And let's do things the right way. If you owe taxes, just pay it. Just pay it.
Just pay it.
You have the money. Just pay it.
Right. And we'll help you plan to
Right.
pay it.
Yes.
Right. And so that's what I said. It's just easier
You
to
sleep
do right.
a lot
Sleep a lot
easier.
better.
And can I
Yes.
share a discussion I had with a client just yesterday?
Sure.
We're
was
talking
that?
about cash flow. But as a business, we really shouldn't be dealing in cash.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're
Even-
going to the ATM?
No. Let me tell you.
okay.
So it's a business that they get
Basically.
cash payments.
Oh.
Okay, you have to get cash payments. It's a restaurant.
Yeah. Like point of sale.
Point of sale
Yeah.
payments, right? So you take that cash and you deposit it. What I discovered yesterday is that, I don't deposit all the cash because I'll take some out so I can pay this person and pay this person. No. How do we track where that cash is going? Again,
Right.
you've stepped off the cash flow scale because we don't know what the real numbers are.
Right.
So I had to explain that even though there are some people who don't want to get Zelle or PayPal or Cash App because they don't want a record. For your personal business, you need a record.
Yeah.
Right.
That's their problem and not your problem.
Exactly.
And so
don't make it your problem.
And don't make it your problem because I can't fully analyze your cash flow when you sold all this and you've got this cash, and let's say you've got $1,000 for the day, but you took out 50 so that you can pay Joe, the man on the street, a tip for doing some work for you.
Right.
No, all of this needs to show up in your financials.
And that's a whole nother rabbit hole because why are people playing broke? Why are people playing broke? That's all I want to know. Why are you playing broke?
We need to bring this in. How does that?
Because you talking about people getting paid under the table.
Yes,
They're not reporting that money.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So why are you playing broke?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody needs to report their money. Everybody needs to be,
above board?
yes, and properly account for their stuff. Because on one hand, the business owner they're not fully accounting for all their revenue. So on paper, they're not looking as good as they
That's
could
what I was going to
be.
say.
Yes.
What if you get an investor one day? Don't you want to show the full amount of money you made?
you brought in,
Absolutely.
yes.
Let's look good on paper.
Yep.
Ethically.
Yes.
Because as certified public accountants, we are held to high ethical standards.
Yes.
Yes.
Every year I have to take a class
Classes.
on ethics
Yeah.
to maintain my certification.
That's something new, though.
Not
Well,
I'm
she's
certified
she's
in North Carolina.
Oh,
Yeah. North Carolina.
and
We're
I've had
Georgia.
to take an ethics course every year since 19 when I
Yeah.
got certified.
Okay, now everybody does.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Right,
Georgia, everybody in
that's true.
Georgia does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think everybody does
it's
now.
across the country?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I
All right.
think so.
Okay.
I think
We should develop
Right,
an
it says
ethics-
that's
we
the
should-
case.
we should develop an ethics course
Yes.
and get people
We'll,
to pay
we'll,
us
we'll have
for
to
it.
do another podcast where we get
yeah.
more into ethics, business ethics.
Sorry.
Because because you're absolutely correct. I mean, being able to fully account, and I know, and people do it from a good place, right?
Right,
In that
right.
case, they're not trying to cheat in that case.
No,
They're just
no.
thinking, okay, I've got some money. I'm running my business. I got a lot going on. I've got 500 hats on. You need $50 here. Okay, you need a tip here. And they're just trying to just get it handled.
Right,
They're
right.
just trying to do the business. But that's why you gotta have an accountant. Because your accountant, you're not going to be thinking that way when you're a business owner. And then if you're not a finance-minded business owner, which is totally fine, we need creatives, we need
Yes,
all types of
absolutely.
people. You be great at that and let us come in and bring those controls around you, right? Then what happens is, was it Joe on the street? What was his name?
I can't remember.
Joe somebody.
Yeah, Joe on the corner.
Joe on the corner. Joe on the corner. So if Joe on the corner needs to get paid and you have an accountant, all you have to do is call us up and say, Joe needs to get paid. Here's his info. We then go through and make sure you've gotten all the right stuff, the W-9, all the different information that you need, and then we'll make sure Joe gets paid properly.
Okay, so this got a little deep.
Oh,
Because
okay.
this Joe on the corner just gets $10.
I understand,
for
but
having-
still.
But I just said, look, at least make Joe on the corner have Cash App or Zelle, so there is a record of this payment.
But if he goes over $600,
Oh yeah, we'll gather that up. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
We are we over here. Let's get back over here.
So I'm just saying, and so it's important we get all of the right information.
Yes, from Joe on the corner
On the front end.
Yes,
And
you
I
are
have
correct.
become maniacal with my clients around making sure that we have the proper documentation before any money goes out the door. Because once you give people money and later on, if you need information from them, you can't find them.
No.
And because they're not trying to they're not trying to report it.
No, why would I?
Right?
playing
So,
broke.
they're playing broke, right? And so we're gonna put that on a t-shirt. Stop playing broke.
playing broke.
And then it's gonna be a face like
really,
this.
Really? Yeah.
And so, so you have to protect the business. And we're always gonna be about making sure that your business is protected.
Yes.
You, small business owner, make sure that you're protecting your business. Period.
Point
And
blank.
Period. And that
Yes.
isn't that what the children say?
No, they
period.
do. You
They
got-
do this.
they do this.
Period.
Yes.
Okay.
So, you don't want to, you want to make sure that, you don't sacrifice your business for someone else.
Yes.
Why would you do that? It blows my mind.
It like you said, it's coming from a good place.
Yeah.
Because you want to help out the community.
Yeah.
You want to help out the guy that comes by your place and says, hey, I can do some work. I can sweep up for you. Sure, you can sweep up for me, but I need some information
Yeah.
so that I can keep track and so that I can
Yeah.
know what's going on.
And once you set that standard, everybody knows how to operate with you, right?
Yep.
They know that, you set that standard around your business, and then some people are gravitating to you because of that.
Yes.
Right? You're not going to lose anything because you set up a business that is based on character.
Right.
You're not going to lose anything.
But a lot of times when people start a business, they don't have that cash flow. So they have that, what would you call the family friend that helps you out, or Joe on the corner that's hooking you up until you get to where you want to be. So I think it comes from that as well, where they're like, hey, they were there for me. Let me slide them a little of this, slide them a little of that. And, but at some point in time, and even in that situation, it's good to keep records.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because when you do make it, you want to compensate that cousin, your mom,
Absolutely.
your dad, whoever was helping you out,
I think one of the keys is when we're talking about operating your business ethically, setting the standards, is do you want to be a business or do you want to have a hustle? Because if you want to have a hustle and not a business, then you have your little cash here or whatever. You be like, the person that can get somebody anything and you hustling, right?
That was Lenny on Good
Lenny
Times.
on Good Times. Yes, Lenny.
Lenny
Got plenty.
And if I ain't got a thing in there.
But if you want to be a business, then you have to set the standards and you have to look at your cash and know where it's going and keep good records.
Yes.
So that you can plan
You're right.
Yes.
for the future.
And part of that planning is putting a portion of that aside for your future growth,
Yep.
for your taxes, for your raises, for your, whatever it is that you are looking to do with that business.
So Keena, how can a small business just starting out, or maybe you're a year in, how can they plan?
How do they plan? So there's definitely some tracking tools, right? And actually, YBP is creating an app coming to you on how to do cash,
soon.
really to make it really simple for the non-finance accounting person. But an Excel spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. And you really need to, we have a tool that we put our clients on. Every one of our clients is on a cash forecasting tool, right? Because you need to know not only what like April said, the cash that you have now, but you got to plan out.
Right.
And a lot of you are point of sale businesses, right? So you don't necessarily know how much money you're going to make each week, right? Or you're a business that's trying to sell services and get different clients. So hopefully you put a target out there of how much you want to make. And then you're anticipating how much money you can bring in each week. So your number, and so once you build that on a spreadsheet to say, okay, I think I'm gonna get in this much. I know I have to pay maybe rent every month on the 1st. This is how much it is, or I got to pay insurance every month on the 15th, whatever those things you have to pay. Put those in. So those are like your fixed expenses, right?
Yes.
Those are the things that you're going to have to pay every single month. Then you have, or maybe you have a business loan or something like that. You're going to have to pay every single month. Then you have those things like maybe how much you pay yourself or how many different contractors you hire, or you have some things that are more variable that you can kind of decide how much of that you want to spend each month. Like, do I buy new uniforms this month or do I not? Do I buy social media ads this month or not? Those are kind of things that you can flex more than you can your fixed expenses, right? And so you want to make sure you're planning out as far in advance so I may run into some problems 2 or 3 weeks from now. Let me make some decisions now around. Let me not tell Sally O'Malley that I'm going to hire her at $500 when I know I'm only going to have $200.
Right.
So it's like you need to say, well, look, I have $200 for this. You can make this money, or I'm going to find somebody else who's going to make this money. Right. So, you've got to figure out, and the more that you plan that in the future, the better off you're going to be. It makes you sleep better at night because you have you know what you're anticipating. You know what you got to do if you don't hit your number. And then, so having someone like YBP work through it with you, an accountant on your team with you, they can help you kind of think through that as well. Because you're off running your business and you're off thinking about the next creative thing you want to build and all of those great things. You need somebody who kind of brings you down to earth.
And I'm sorry, Kimberly. I was going to say, I'm glad you mentioned business loan. Because nobody wants to give you money when you don't have any.
This is correct.
And so if you're managing your cash flow, you want to go after those business loans. You want to go after those lines of credit when your cash is at a high.
Yes.
Not when you need it. Not when it's at its low, but when it's at its high. So that's another key part of cash management and the importance of it.
And the plan is important because you won't know when your cash is at high. You won't know you're going to need it in 6 months if you don't have a plan. And again, this plan takes you from being a hustler to a business because you're out here making your money. And we want you to be able to go out and make the money. And we help you plan for the future. But you won't know that you'll need a business loan, or you need to ramp up your contracts, or you need to go out there and find cheaper labor. You won't know that that's going to happen in 3 to 6 months if you have not planned for the future. So that is very important because we're talking about cash flow.
Flow.
It has
and it's
to
got to
flow.
be flow, because we said if the cash flow ain't flowing, you in danger, girl.
You in danger, girl.
So,
and I've yet to meet a business owner that didn't want to grow.
Me either.
Yeah.
Who don't want to make more money?
Who doesn't want to make money?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and more money,
And more.
right? I mean, so I think that it's really important that hopefully, this is what I want to say. This is the final thing, and then we can get into our shooting the shh.
All right.
Please listen to your accountant. I know we are Debbie Downer. It's like, I know that we don't come as sunshine and roses all the time.
No.
But when we tell you, hey, you need to cut this, or hey, you need to make this payroll decision, or hey, don't do that loan, or listen to us, because what we do, we're translators, right?
That's a good word.
You speak English, small business owner. Your money is French, and we're the interpreter.
Yes.
So we're reading this
Oui,
French, right? And this French, this
Oui,
French,
That's all the French I know.
right? Okay, I know, but yeah, we're looking at it, and we're like, this is disaster. Right? This is disaster. And all we're doing is interpreting it, and we're telling you. That is what we're doing. We are translating, and we're telling you. So it's not us that's telling you. Your money on paper in French, we're reading it. And now we are telling you what it says.
Don't shoot the messenger.
So don't shoot the messenger.
Right. And don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared.
So, because we want you to win. So that's why we're trying to tell you as soon as possible, do this. Because usually when we're telling you to do something, it's something you don't want to do. It's usually emotional for you. It's usually something
getting on that
that
scale.
yes, it's getting on the scale.
Get on
Exactly.
your cash flow scale.
Yes. And you don't want it. You, like me, want to wish you're 135 pounds. But you're not.
Ozempic.
Oh, wait.
We need some help.
We're giving you that shot.
Yes. We are
We're
the
giving
shot.
you the shot, and you're going to have to get it in the belly every week.
Yeah.
I mean, so So
But
listen
it's
to your
all for
accountant.
good,
It's
you
all
know?
right. It's all
it's
for
just
good.
a turning point in the right direction.
Right.
To keep you going, to
Right.
keep that cash flowing. And, aspiring or continuing to aspire to the things you want to do, the things you enjoy, even other
Exactly.
ventures that you may want to
Exactly. That are
get
outside of this
into.
business. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Keep it going.
We're just telling you, you need a salad. Right.
Yeah, this week you need
You
a
need
salad.
some
Yeah.
grilled
Yes.
chicken.
Yes.
You're gonna be lean
Yes.
for a couple weeks.
Right.
Right. You gotta put some strength training in.
Yes.
So there's some things that you're gonna have to do
Build
in the
that
short term.
core.
You got to build. Oh,
Yes.
Yes. I need to work on that.
yes.
You build that
Building
core.
your core, right? You want to
Because
both.
the core is what helps
It's
you
the
maintain,
stabilizer.
and it stabilizes you, and it keeps you what?
Balance. Thank you.
We got to end on that. I mean, we brought that together.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies. As you see, we've known each other a long time.
Yes.
So, I mean, you know what? So, I think we've given everybody some good tools. Let's wrap
Yeah.
it up. Like we said, make sure you keep your personal and your business separate.
Separate.
Use a tool to track it and call us. We can help you do it.
And you have to get on that financial scale.
Yes.
You have to know what's going on with your money.
What's
That's
going out, what's coming in.
Yep. And so keep those things in mind, and your cash flow will be flowing.
Yes.
Yes.
Continue to grow.
Yes. So what, ladies, let's flip the script a little bit. Let's shoot the And we were talking the other day. What were we talking about in terms of shoes?
Oh, the pumps. Well,
Pumps.
yeah.
Do the young people know what pumps are?
I think they call them stilettos. I don't think
well.
they. I mean, I don't think
It's a stiletto. That's not a pump.
But I don't know if they're referred to as pumps anymore.
So
but
is pump still?
pumps and a
And a
bump.
bump. The pumps used to give you a bump. Now they go all the way up to a stiletto.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I can contribute to shooting this one because I've never been comfortable wearing pumps.
In my 20s, I probably only had a pair of sneakers and maybe one pair of flat. Every other shoe I had was a heel.
Okay.
I wore heels that's why my knees bad now. I wore heels constantly. One, because I'm short, so I wanted to be tall. So I always wore, heels, all of my shoes. Now,
What you wearing now, Keena?
sneakers. Sneakers,
Yes.
flip-flops, and slides every single day.
Let me tell you.
Every single day.
When I found out about bling sneakers, long live the sneaker ball. Before sneaker balls were popular, I'm putting on a formal gown and some bling sneakers.
Okay.
Because
okay.
I've never been comfortable in pumps or heels or anything like that. Never. And so, of course, when we started working, that's what that was part of the uniform.
Right.
That we,
Right.
I mean, when we started working, you couldn't even wear pants.
Right. Can you believe that?
Wait a minute.
Yes.
I
No, we
bought
didn't.
some pantsuits from dealers, 75% off.
Okay, but
those
when
Super
we
Saturday sales.
yeah, yes,
No,
yes,
that was
yes.
Macy, that Super Saturday sale.
But
But no, when we first we were interning,
yeah,
there were no pantsuits.
Yeah,
Oh, I
women didn't wear
missed that.
pants. Well, good.
Oh,
You are.
yeah,
Just-
that's right.
you're
You're
just
a little.
But I'm
yeah.
just a little.
But that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
just-
We were at the end of that time
Yes,
period.
yes,
But it
yes.
was hose, skirt, and skirt suits.
Oh, I
Yes.
definitely
When I
had those
interned.
pantyhose
and
on.
and pantyhose.
Yes.
Thankfully, and this tells you how I never got comfortable in heels because my 2 internships, I was in a plant, so I was wearing steel toe boots.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and the cap.
Oh,
What's them
yeah.
hats?
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Them
The
hard
hard
hats.
hats.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but even in recruiting, like career fairs, I know I probably look like doggone Annalise walking through with them heels on from How to Get Away from Murder. How to Get Away with Murder.
She used to walk like
I know I look like Sophia walking through the cornfield with some heels on back in the day. And so,
She sure didn't walk like that.
yes, I look.
Well, I definitely had a combination.
Okay.
I had the little pumps for work. I had the high pumps for clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it all.
Yes.
No more. With
You had pumps on maybe like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Where
And I
was I
said,
going?
wow, I don't remember where we were going. I don't remember where we were going.
Well, okay, so now when I wear them, it's just to the car, or from the car to wherever I'm sitting down.
right, it's a whole
And
conversation
then they
about
like come off underneath the table. But I don't just style and profile like I used to.
Right.
You don't walk down
like
the street.
at the
young
bar,
one.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
With those
But
heels.
I know that the young people do wear strappy heels.
Yeah.
I don't see them in our standard pump.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they wear heels.
Yeah, the pump
Yeah.
is probably played out.
Yeah.
And I'm still buying strappy heels.
Oh.
Not
okay.
sure why.
For a while.
Because I think I'm probably tapping into my younger side, or maybe hoping one day I can put them on and they not hurt. But yeah, I'm still buying them. They are pretty to look at.
They're
too.
cute. And
Yeah.
you know, I
Even when you can't wear them.
Yeah. I mean, I see young girls, they're strappy heels and white toenail polish, and they stepping out.
Yeah.
And I got on my sneakers.
Yeah. My
Bling,
advice to them, a heel day, a sneaker day. A heel day, a sneaker day. So your knee won't be like mine.
Right. So it sounds like pumps are out.
Pumps.
I
are
think
out.
our
Stilettos are in.
standard
And
term
stiletto.
of pumps.
Yeah.
Is probably
Yeah.
done with.
Do they know what a pump is when we're saying pump?
I hope so.
They
Those,
A
probably
pump
don't.
is a shoe that has about a 2-inch heel,
Just
but
a
it
regular
covers
heel.
your foot.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
No open toe.
and
on
there's
that.
no open toe, or maybe there's a little peep.
That's a peep toe.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a peep toe, I guess.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
the
so the
standard
pump was
pump-
it covered your whole foot.
But I
at
heard
the
kitten
front.
heels are coming back in style.
Oh yeah, okay, that yeah.
I'm
Oh
lying.
yeah,
I
well
don't know.
no,
Are
there's
they?
I don't think they call it kitten heel.
What do they call them?
But we do, have some clients who are designers who,
Oh, yes,
we
yes.
try,
Yes, yes.
So they do have some products. I'm always with them. Like, so when's your flat shoe, or when's the flat shoe available?
Right.
Because then I can wear that one. But they a couple of them do have a lower heel because they're trying to stretch across the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
But but all of them, their main shoe, and it's gorgeous. Their main shoes are and they're beautiful. And I look at them and I'm like, oh, they're so pretty.
Yes.
But when is your flat coming out? So, but yeah, it's no, it was a good run. It was a hell of a run.
The
Yeah,
pumps were a
yeah,
hell of
yeah.
a run.
It was a hell of a run. We had an awesome time wearing them, and RIP.
R.I.P.
Yes.
to the
R.I.P. to-
PUMP.
Exactly. Thank you, Kimberly.
All
Well,
right.
We rhyming.
All right. So with that, we're going to close out Cash Flow Ain't Flowing, and we're going to close out Pumps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get that cash flow
absolutely.
flowing. Cash flow flowing.
Yes.
So you can keep glowing.
And growing.
That's right.
Okay, so thank you all for joining this Balance Your Books podcast episode.
Check us out at yourbalancepartners.com.
Calm.